So much to talk about the show. I don't even know how I'm going to fit all these important things into the 40 minutes that we have together. So let's get quickly started. First of all, we're looking at the Bitcoin price, 20,416. And it does feel to me like every time like I keep saying, we're trading in this range. We keep trading in this range. Every time we get near that 21,500 over here, we start coming down. And every time we get towards the 19,800, 18,800 or 19,000 over here, then we jump up, and it seems to be range trading. But that's not what Sheldon and Kyle think, because Sheldon and Kyle are saying that this is actually the chart that you want to be looking at, that this is a perfect retest. And if the bulls have any hope whatsoever, then this retest happens, and then we bounce off that trend line. And if that doesn't happen, well, then the bulls have completely lost control, and then we're going straight back down. And if we go back down, we're going to what level?
I would say like 16.
16, 17. I think I'm right here. I think we'd be talking about the ranges much more than we're talking about that. Also in the show, look at that, the dollar index, 108. 108 in the dollar index. That's crazy. And I think we're watching history, and we may even make history together on the show today. You've got the euro to the US dollar almost at parity, 1.0072, so less than 1 cent to go before the euro and the dollar hit parity for the first time in 20 years. Then we're going to shift our attention to Asia. And if you look at Asia, if you look at all markets around the world, all markets are down. But if you look at Asia, Asia got slaughtered. So I'm going to show you why Asia got slaughtered. And then, well, now you can see what the US stock market's doing, down 1.6%. And the majority of it's happened in the last hour. And that's probably all to do with Wednesday, because Wednesday is a big day in the States. Wednesday is all about inflation. So that's what's happening on the markets. So we've got a lot to talk about. Also, I want to talk to you about Elon and the Twitter deal. And it's my last show before I go on vacation tomorrow. So let's make it a big one together. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Yo, it's our last show together. Let's make this show a massive show together. I've put together a huge show for you guys today. I've got to do a lot of giveaways today, because we have to give them away before I go on vacation. I can't go on vacation and not do giveaways. So that's going to happen today. We've got a massive show in terms of content. It's going to be massive. It's going to be a lot of fun here. And then I'm going on vacation for a week with my kids. I'm not even taking the studio with me, so I won't even be able to do a show if shit happens. That's my way of guaranteeing that I'm actually going to stay away from doing shows, because every time I go away, I'll end up doing shows with you guys. So let's make today a big show. What I need from you, very simple, just subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification, like the content, and I will do my bit. You got to do your bit. We'll get this algorithm going. We'll bring the banter fam here, and we'll have fun. We'll have fun for the next 40 minutes, maybe a little bit longer today, because it is the last show. What else? Big debate going on in the office with this is the situation, and Sheldon and Kyle are right, and then we get a big bounce off here, and then we go into bull territory, 26,000, or whether Run's right, and it's actually all about the fucking range. It's the range. It's to 21.5, back down to 19, back up to 21.5, back down to 19. And up until now, I've been right more times than I've been wrong in this range. If you would have bought the bottom of the range, every time it goes towards 19, and then you just hold it until it goes back towards 21. And every time you do that, you can bank yourself 10% profit. And if you're trading on leverage, well, you can make yourself a whole lot of profit. And that's pretty much how I've been playing this. And the question is whether I'm right, or whether hopefully Sheldon and Kyle are right. And they're saying, what's the buy level? 20,000?
Yeah, just under 20, 40%.
Okay, so Sheldon's buying now. Kyle's a bit more.
further down.
Yeah, Carl's a bit more conservative. Obviously, he's waiting for 19,800. But I think everything today is about the inflation numbers that are coming out on Wednesday. So the United States is forward-looking to the inflation numbers, which are coming out on Wednesday. So we're going to spend some time talking about this because it's a massive week this week. Not only is it inflation numbers, but we also have company earnings in the United States. And for me, company earnings is actually much more important than inflation. I'll show you. I'll tell you why as well. I'm also going to show you guys. I know that the thumbnail said 3, not the thumbnail, but the title said 3 altcoins, right? Can we change that? I want to make it 4 altcoins that I'm buying, please.
Done,
4.
done.
Change it. 4. It must be 4. I'm going to show you 4 altcoins that I'm buying. More importantly, I'm going to show you why I'm buying them because this is actually about how it's about the why, not what you do. It's about why. So actually why I'm buying them, and then you can apply that thinking to any kind of altcoin. And yeah, that's pretty much what we're going to do today. So if you're new, subscribe. If you're not new, just like. Let's get the content out there. I want to see the numbers going up here. It is my last show. Let's have fun together. Let's dive straight into the stories. And that is, of course, the biggest story, I think, this week, or what everyone thinks is the biggest story. I don't think it's the biggest story. I think the biggest story is actually the one that comes after it. But what everybody's talking about is the inflation numbers in the States. And this week, we're getting 2 inflation numbers in the States. The first bunch of inflation numbers that we're getting is the US CPI, the Consumer Price Index. You'll remember that in June, they were expecting 8.3, they got 8.6. Now, they are expecting, get this, they're expecting 8.8. Okay, this is where we're at. They're expecting CPI to be 8.8, which is crazy. So remember, this is the CPI, which includes the energy, If you look at core, which excludes energy, what you'll notice is that the previous one was at 6, and now we're getting, well, it was 6, and you'll see that this one's actually starting to decline. So when you look at it, X energy, it's actually starting to decline. And to me, while everyone is fixated on the inflation number, I think that this inflation number is actually inconsequential. And I think I've said it to you guys a few times before, but let me just repeat why I think that these numbers are inconsequential. If you think about the inflation that is being measured, and specifically I'm talking about the real inflation, if I think about this number and I look at it in context of June, you're measuring it, they're expecting 8.8%. But what are they measuring? They're measuring what consumers paid for goods and services in June, right? But in June was products that were manufactured using commodities that were bought in March, April, and May, because that's how long it takes for the prices to filter in. And if you look at where the prices were in March, April, and May, you're pretty much looking at this period over here. So this is where you are looking. But you can see that since then, the prices have started to come down, and the prices have come down quite significantly. If you look at the highs, they were about 823, and now they're trading at 688. That's on commodities. If you look at oil, so if you look at the highs of oil, or if you look at where oil was at 113 and 122, and now oil is back down at close to $100. If you look at other things, like, for example, lumber, I went and looked at the price of lumber, and I looked at the prices of lumber in March, April, May, which is what consumers are paying for now. And it was at around 1,450, and it's already come down about 50%. So what do I think is happening? I think that the inflation is measuring the historical levels. And what we're about to see is I think we're going to see inflation easing up as these new levels start coming into the market. Okay, these 527, 585. I think that when those things start coming into the market, and when $100 oil, and maybe even sub $100 oil, if Lynn Alden is right, she says we're going to expect $60 to $70 a barrel. If those numbers start coming down, then the inflation numbers are going to come down. They're going to come down quite a bit, but they're not going to come down now. They're going to start coming down in September and October, and that is when I think that we've actually peaked. I think this might be the peak of inflation. Maybe not, maybe August, but I think we get a sharp decline in inflation in September, and you can kind of see that these inflation numbers are the cost of things is coming down. Even if you look at luxury goods like Rolexes, look at the price of Rolexes coming down. That's maybe going to just show us that Richard Hart to stop buying. Maybe that's all that this is about. Shipping costs. So what used to cost about $11,000 or $12,000 per container to move across borders is now costing 7,000. So you can see that even that is starting to come down. But all of this is only going to filter into the market in September and October. So I think that the market is overreacting to what is happening to these inflation numbers. And what you can see is that ahead of these inflation numbers and the economic data that's coming out, funds are positioning themselves very, very short. In fact, net short, it's record short. In other words, record pessimism in the market before these numbers are going to come out. And I think what's going to happen is that the market is going to realize what I'm seeing and many others are starting to see, right? The market's going to start realizing that even though we are recording the highest inflation numbers, the price of commodities and the price of manufacturing data stuff has come down a hell of a lot. And even the price of energy, which is bringing up the CPI quite a bit, has come down a hell of a lot. And now what you're going to start seeing is you're going to start seeing the numbers actually coming down. And in September, we're going to get this inflation bombshell downwards. And that's going to do it. People are saying Michael Barry was right. About what? I think he's probably calling a market crash. He always calls a market crash. Anyway, the more important story for me, maybe Carl is Michael. The more important story for me is not inflation. Inflation is one thing, but I think the more important story for me is actually earnings. And what we're going to start seeing this week is we're going to start seeing earnings reports. Remember that this week is the beginning of earnings. And the big fear for me is that the earnings start coming in lower than expected. That is like pretty much the worst case scenario here. Because if the market is priced in price earnings ratios and the multiples have come down because of the bear market, but the earnings remain constant, that's cool. But what worries me is that if you look at this chart over here, the number of companies that is reducing their earnings forecasts is increasing a lot. And so what worries me is that earnings are starting to get hit. And if earnings are starting to get hit, which kind of makes sense if we're moving into a recession, that is where you're going to start seeing the real stock market capitulation. And I think that instead of worrying about inflation, which is a very historical thing, companies, if you want to be taking a short, take a short because you're betting that earnings are going to be coming down. And we got to watch out. So this week we start seeing these companies report earnings. I don't see any of the big companies that we're worried about here. And I think for the rest of July, we're going to see a whole lot of really, really, really important earnings. So this is where I'd be keeping my eyes, where I'd be keeping my focus, not on inflation. Inflation is historical. We can look forward. We know inflation is going to start coming down. As I said, September, October, bombshell downwards. But earnings, that is where I'm going to be focused. So let's keep our eyes super focused on earnings. All right, what else? Big problems in Asia. Big problems in Asia. I don't know if you guys saw this, but if you look at investing.com, all the markets are down. But then when you look at Asia and Hong Kong, that's where the shit really hit the fan, right? So this is where we saw big trouble this morning. And I think that's on the back of a lot of things. I've tried to narrow it down. The first thing that I saw is these 4 banks in Asia. Here, let me show you. 4 banks in China that are limiting withdrawals or haven't been allowing people to withdraw. These are the protests because these banks won't allow people to withdraw their own money. And potentially you've got a bank run coming. There's people screaming, return my deposits, return my deposits. So that is the Chinese protesting that. There are many more images. Look at this. This is more of those images. Now, this could be a continuation of the Evergrande. Remember, Evergrande went into said that they may go into liquidation. There was a whole issue with them. And that kind of marked the real top of the market in December when they came out this. Well, it could be that these banks, that this is just a contagion that is because of the real estate bubble in China. And when Evergrande starts to collapse, what we're going to realize is that all the banks were actually leveraged to real estate. Very similar to what happened in the US in 2008, the big housing collapse or the big real estate bubble. The same thing could be happening in China, and this could just be the beginning of this happening in China. The other issue that's happening in China, which we need to keep our eyes on, is COVID levels are climbing again. And you know what that means? That means that the Chinese government may impose those ridiculous, stringent, crazy lockdowns that they are so good at doing. And if that happens, that's going to smash supply chain. So that's what's happening in Asia. Not good in Asia. And that's why the Asian markets got hit. And that's what brought Bitcoin down. The Asian futures opened. People thought, hold on a second, the markets are coming down. Bang, the markets actually came down. Then we have Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is not really that big for crypto, but Sri Lanka has now declared themselves bankrupt. So what happened in Sri Lanka is they started running out of money. They couldn't import gas. They had a gas shortage. You pretty much can't get any supplies in Sri Lanka. You can't get anything anymore because everything is finished and money's finished. People can't withdraw money from the bank. And so I think it reached boiling point where protesters actually stormed their version of the White House and their version of the central bank.
There we go! No way we can stop it, man! That's it! That's Sri Lanka! Come on, Sri Lanka! There we go! Enter the story! Enter the bloody story! Bloody hell! Woohoo!
So you see that's them storming. I think this is the presidential palace, and then this is them storming the central bank. And the issue is that now that we've got a strong dollar, this is only going to make it much worse for the poor emerging markets. The poor emerging markets are not going to be able to buy things because everything is denominated in dollars, and they are running out of money, as you can see exactly what happened in Sri Lanka. This was the protesters in the presidential palace, so to speak, swimming in the pool, relaxing, taking their shirts off, getting some sun, doing somersaults, backflips. Never seen anything like it. Never seen anything like it. But okay, so that's what's happening in Sri Lanka. I don't know. For those of us who come from Africa, we've seen this a few times before. It's not the first time that we've seen stuff like this. But still, it just shows that the effects of COVID and now the effects of the war and now the effect of a stronger dollar is going to affect countries pretty deeply. And I think we're starting to see the beginning of that contagion, but I think it has yet to play out. And unless something happens pretty quickly, I think we've got a big problem. And as I said, I think that the euro, the US dollar strength, this Dixie at 108, makes it unplayable for these poor emerging economies. Unless they are resource rich and they can export commodities, then I think that would save them. There are countries like South Africa, but South Africa doesn't have electricity. If South Africa had electricity, they could make a lot of money in this commodity run, but we don't have electricity, so we can't really mine. What else is there? What else before we start talking about altcoins and how to value these altcoins? Elon's Twitter deal. What do you think about Elon's Twitter deal? What do you guys think about what's going on with Elon and Twitter? I think it's a huge mess what's going on. If you think about what's actually happening now. Elon on Friday said that he's pulling out of the Twitter deal because they couldn't provide him the information that he wanted about bots. So that's what happened. And now what we're learning is that Twitter has started to lawyer up. And they've got these big lawyers. They hired the firm that invented the poison pill to sue Elon Musk. So they're now lawyering up, and they want to hold Elon Musk to this transaction. What we know is that Elon Musk has a $1 billion break deal on this, and then he can also be sued for damages. Now, the question is, what are these damages? Could you agree that he's maybe done more damage to Twitter's reputation? Could they sue him for those damages? So now Elon Musk is going with Twitter to this Delaware court. And in this Delaware court, they've got to decide, the Delaware court has to decide what to do. They are in a conundrum because if they say to Elon Musk, look, if they don't enforce the merger, then people are going to say, look, Delaware, which is a business-friendly state, needs to have business-friendly courts. And if they're not going to enforce merger deals, then maybe this is a bad place to do business. So they're really caught between a rock and a hard place. And I heard this CNBC interview today. I think it's worth listening to.
Let's get to the soap opera that just never ends. An update on the drama from late Friday between Elon Musk and Twitter. Musk's lawyer notifying the company of his intention to terminate the merger agreement, accusing Twitter of failing to provide him with data on fake and spam accounts. Twitter chair Brett Taylor responding, tweeting, the Twitter board committed to closing the transaction on the price and terms agreed upon with Mr. Musk and plans to pursue legal action to enforce the merger agreement. We are confident will prevail in the Delaware Court of Chancery. Shares of Twitter, though, we should say, are tanking this morning. They're off about 7% right now with 34.20. Of course, now there's a bunch of questions. So they go to court, and there's already...
Let's look at the price of Twitter.
Twitter has hired Wachtell Lipton.
34. Remember the price is 54.20.
And used to be the Chief Justice of the Delaware Chancery Court. He may be the one who would argue that case in front of that court. How quickly does this happen? Is this some kind of larger negotiation? And interestingly, can the Delaware court, there's a credibility issue. If the Delaware court were to decide, you know what, we need to enforce merger agreements. That's what we need to do. We need to tell Elon Musk that he has to close this deal. If that's what the ultimate result is. And then Elon Musk were to try to snub his nose at the court and say, I'm not doing it. What recourse does the court really have? Could they send him to jail? Could they try to take his...
So it would be more than just a civil?
No. This is the issue, though.
But people don't go to jail for...
No, I know. This is the point.
So that that's
this
not
is the point.
really...
What is the credibility of a court? If a court were to say...
It's money, right?
It's usually money. But if a court were to say, you have to do this, and he were to say, I'm not doing it. I'm not buying the company. Then what would happen? Would they try to take his shares of SpaceX or Tesla? This is where it becomes very complicated. And so there's an argument to be made that, and maybe he's going to be sort of playing chicken with the court to see how far they would push it for their own credibility. Right. Now, interestingly, we've talked about the $1 billion breakup fee. Right. There's also potentially, depending on how you read the contract, $1 billion of limited cap on damages. So if you weren't to force the company, if you weren't to force Elon Musk to buy the company,
so this is the problem.
Are the damages really capped at $1 billion? Could they go much higher? Is it, by the way, has there been $10, $20 billion of damages to this company as a result of him doing this? Potentially. And then the flip side is it possible that Elon Musk is right about the bots and we're going to find out that Twitter has been participating in some kind of fraud on the shareholders, and even which is what Elon Musk would say.
So this is where Elon Musk is now. This is what Elon Musk is saying. And obviously you've seen this tweet where he said they said I couldn't buy Twitter. Then they wouldn't disclose bot info. Now they want to force me to buy Twitter in court. Now they have to disclose the bot info in court. So, checkmate. It is checkmate. Look, Parag did the most important thing ever. And what he did was he just stopped following Tesla owners SV on Twitter. So the saga continues. I don't know. Did Elon Musk ever want to buy Twitter? If he did, or was this just a whole ploy to just expose how bad Twitter is being run and get them to clear out the bots? If he doesn't buy Twitter, the guy's going to be paying at least $1 billion for terminating the merger. At least. Because I think that's an unconditional. I think that's unconditional. I'm not sure. I think that's unconditional.
He wins, though.
I think that, he wins regardless.
Yeah.
Well, does he? Because if he lands up paying $1 billion, has he won? I don't know if he's won.
But they have to prove what the damage is first.
No. There's $1 billion cut fee. There's $1 billion. If this doesn't go through, you pay us $1 billion. And then they have to prove damages, and that's limited to another $1 billion. But then the question is it actually limited? I don't even know if it's actually limited. I've been reading a whole lot of stuff here. Now, this is a guy who seems to know what he's talking about. He is a appellate lawyer at Wright, Close and Barger in Houston. And what he says there's a lot of confusion on my timeline about whether Elon has the right to walk away from the Twitter deal for $1 billion. No, he would write that check right the second if he could walk away. The agreement allows Twitter to try and make him buy the company at the agreed price. So now they could force him to buy the company. Okay, so that's what's going on here. And then the damage is also probably, he says, not limited. So I don't know, maybe worth buying Twitter. Imagine giving up a bit. That's your stop loss being triggered at $1 billion, or just stay in the trade.
Yeah.
Again, what we know for sure is that Twitter's not valued at the price $44 billion. It's just not worth it. And so now he was rash. He tried to make a big deal. Yeah, that's the story. All right, anyway, let's get into DGen time, because that's why you guys came here. You guys didn't come here for that. You came here to talk about altcoins. So let's talk about altcoins. That's what we're going to talk about. And I think that what I learned in the bear market of 2018 and 2019 is that most people will capitulate not when the prices go down, but their conviction will be tested by a factor of two things. The first thing is prices going down, but the second thing is prices going sideways for a long period of time. And eventually, when you take the lack of price action and you combine it with the boredom, then that is when most people leave crypto and they go and look for something more exciting. So that's what they're going to do. They're going to play online poker and everything else, because they need to degen. That's what happens. And what you get left in the industry is you get the people who are really, really solid in the industry. And what this market will do is the market will very, very, very much test your conviction. And those of you that have real conviction will continue to be here. But those of you that get really scared of headlines like this, and you're going to see a lot of these headlines, Bitcoin is more likely to hit 10,000 than it's hit 30,000. That's a survey find. If you're going to listen to the headlines, you're going to be flushed out of the market. That is what I know, because the headlines are mainstream retail media. Sentiment is exactly what you should be trading against. When these people are saying that Bitcoin is more likely to hit 10,000 than 30,000, you need to be trading against that sentiment. That is how this whole thing works. You need to be trading against the sentiment, not with the sentiment. And now the sentiment is down, which means that you should be trading against the sentiment, which is trading up, but not blindly against the sentiment. What you need to make sure is you need to make sure that you have conviction in the projects that you buy. And conviction means that you've done a lot of research and you're basing it on fundamentals. Because I think what you've realized now is that every single project that was based on hype, that was based on hot air, whether it was based on momentum, that was based on a narrative, has gone. Because that's what bear markets do. They flash out hopium, momentum, hot air. That's all gone. That's all history. And what's left is projects that have good fundamentals and good uptake. And those are the projects that you want to be buying. And the reality is that if you dollar cost average into those projects now, I'm going to show you how that could be worth, you could 100x your portfolios if you do that. If you don't do that, if you start trying to trade this market based on sentiment, then I think you'll probably wipe out your portfolios and you probably won't be around to make the next bull market. So let's look at some examples of what I'm talking about. I want to show you 4 tokens that I think you should be dollar cost averaging into. And I'll show you why I think you should be dollar cost averaging into those projects. I think the first one that we should talk about is MATIC. So again, there's a reason why I say you should be dollar cost averaging into MATIC. MATIC does have a use case. There are a lot of people using MATIC. You can see where it is from its all-time high. So if I take the all-time high, it's at 293. And today you're 81% down from the all-time high. But what you can see is that in this bear market, MATIC has had an amazing reversal. So if you look at where it was at the low and where it is now, it's 72% up or 78% up from the low. But why am I so bullish on it? Well, I'm looking at developers and I'm looking at uptake. And what I recently saw that if you look at the Luna Terra developers, a lot of the smart Luna Terra developers who were very, very smart developers, they jumped the ship and they're not going to develop on Terra 2.0, but 48 Terra projects have moved on to Polygon. And I think that Polygon MATIC may become or is a home for lots of projects while ETH sorts out its problems. And I think, again, you've got an opportunity to buy this at the same prices that it was. Well, let's look together and see when was the last time or the first time that it was trading at these kind of prices. Talking about April 2021. That is when MATIC was trading at 58 cents. So if you can pick it up at these kind of levels, you're picking it up at April 2021 levels, which for me just feels like a good place to be picking stuff up. So that's the first one that I would be looking at. I'm going to show you 4 because I said 3, but I'm going to give you a 4th one as a bonus. Second one that I would be picking up is this one over here. and that is Arweave. So if I look at this, one thing that Arweave is a token that doesn't have much hype. But if you look at the hold on, let me go back to that. Okay, so you look at the revenue of Arweave. While all the file storage protocols revenues are down, revenues, not price, but the actual fees that they're raking in, what you can see is that Arweave is up 31% quarter on quarter, while all the other ones are down 61% and 31%. So for me, worth looking at a token like Arweave. Then I go and compare that to the growth of the Weave, which is, you know, where Arweave store the data. And you can see that the Weave, the product, is growing pretty much vertically. So pretty much this product is growing vertically. So I look at that and I say, okay, let's look at Arweave. Let's quickly look at the price. It's trading at, I think, $12. So let's quickly find that. Okay, let's look at it on KuCoin. Okay, so you're looking at where it was at the high. The high was $120, trading at 90% down at $12. At $12, if I'm not mistaken, let's quickly just check the market cap at $12. I think there's 60 million tokens on Arweave, so it gives it a less than $1 billion fully diluted valuation. I think. Let's quickly check. $775 million fully diluted valuation. Just feels too cheap. Just feels too cheap. If this works, this is a $100 billion protocol, which means that you've got 150x here. If Arweave works, so to me, that's how we need to look at these things. I want to show you another one which has a very low relative valuation and worth probably starting to dollar cost average into. And I'll show you why it's worth dollar cost averaging to. So the next one that I think we don't talk about enough, but probably worth dollar cost averaging, is the Graph. Because the Graph has very few competitors in its space. What it does is it indexes smart contract data, and it allows developers to call on that index smart contract data to save them time when they're developing smart contracts. Now, again, I'm looking at the revenue. The revenue increased by 1,000% quarter on quarter. 1,000% quarter on quarter. It increased. And then I look at the Graph. Let's go look at GRT, which is the Graph token. I look at GRT, and it's trading at 9.7 cents. And I go to the 100, or let's go to the maximum all-time chart of the Graph, and you can see that we're pretty much at the lows. Like, we are at the lows. The lows are 9 cents. We're at 9.7 cents. So you're buying it pretty much at the low. And we haven't seen these prices pretty much ever. Pretty much we haven't seen these prices ever. So to me, this is probably one of the most fundamentally undervalued tokens in the world. For me, this is the one that I would be looking at. Again, they're all big tokens. So right now, we're not buying any small tokens. We're only buying big caps because those are the ones that will probably make it. And also, big caps are so cheap right now that you can make so much return on the big caps that your risk reward ratio of buying the smaller cap tokens is probably not worth it. And so that's another one that I'd be looking at. Let's look at this one lastly, one which I did speak to you guys about last week, and that is the KuCoin token. So what we know is, we just lost electricity, but we actually haven't. Hey, we got electricity. Amazing. That's all amazing. I've got electricity. No one else has electricity.
You have a battery pack, not electricity.
Okay, so KuCoin, remember KuCoin, there was a whole lot of fight about KuCoin and whether they can pay their liquidations. And I said to you guys, it's garbage, it's FUD. I'm buying the KuCoin token. I bought the KuCoin token at $8. I don't know if you remember that. Well, now more information has come out. They released their first half of 2022 results. They reported 9.75 million new users. Now, let me give you perspective. They only have 18 million users, and they picked up 9.75 million new users pretty recently. All right, they also raised $150 million at a valuation of $10 billion. We know that. Their cumulative trading volume for spot and futures exceeded $2 trillion, 180% growth year on year. They are hiring 300 people at the moment. So while everyone else is firing, KuCoin is hiring 300 people at the moment. So when I look at this, I'm going, hold on a second. There was FUD. the token has come down a lot. Let's quickly look at the token price, the KCS token, which I think is about $9. But let's look at it relative to where it was. So let's quickly look at KCS and then look at it relative to where it was. Take a maximum. So it is at the same price. Okay, it's now up at 902. Okay, so wow, is it up at, there we go, 964 it says. Why is it 964? 902. So 902. When was it at 902 last? You're talking about somewhere here, 2021, June 2021. And it's been up as high as $25, $27. So to me, again, exchange token, exchange is growing. There was FUD. I like to buy FUD because there's usually high risk, high return with FUD, and I can take those kind of risks. So to me, I think KuCoin, another one of those. So that's how I look at tokens in the bear market. I look at actual fundamentals. I look at actual revenue. I make sure that the user base is growing, that developers are building on it. And then I just start dollar cost averaging and I start building positions in these tokens. And I mean, those are just 4. There are probably a whole lot that you could be looking at if you use the same metrics. I just showed you 4 because those are the 4 that I'm actually buying. I mean, full disclosure, I'm not actually buying any more Arweave because I have enough and it's too much of a big part of my portfolio. So that one I'm not actually adding anymore to, but all the other ones I'm definitely adding more to my portfolio. I haven't got the Graph in my portfolio, so I'm starting to build a significant position in Graph tokens. Again, why? Because it's being used, the revenue is up 10x, it's growing year on year. That for me, I'm taking a position in it. I've already bought KuCoin. I may add to my position. If it comes down, I may actually add to my position because I just think good exchange, growing fast. I mean, look at this data over here. Look at this data over here. Here, this is a chart that I showed you guys, was it a week ago? And I showed you guys, if you look at the purple over here, that is KuCoin. Now look at the growth of KuCoin, and you can see that what you want to be buying is you want to be buying momentum. You want to be buying exchanges that grow really fast. And this one's showing that it's growing quite a bit. So again, for me, on a risk return basis, that's the one I'm buying. A lot of people are saying things like buy Vulcan Forge. Yeah, you're right, but you're talking about a different league of risk return. Different league of risk return. One is, very high risk and maybe very high return. The other one is lower risk, but also probably quite a high return. So that is how I'm looking at things now. I'm buckled down. I am hopefully BNB performed really, really well. I think it's at all-time highs against Bitcoin, or very close to all-time highs against Bitcoin. Let's quickly look at that because you guys mentioned it. Let's quickly look at, is there a BNB BTC pair we can look at? Let's have a look here. BNB BTC. Let's quickly look at that. So, wow, look at that. So this is where BNB is on the daily relative to Bitcoin. So when you price BNB relative to Bitcoin, it's at all-time highs. Wow, that is insane. That's insane. Shows you the power of what CZ is doing. Really. Yeah. Another one which is, I think, also very good, GMX. So let's quickly look at GMX. GMX. I think probably there's only a USDT pair. That doesn't look like it gives us enough data, but let's have a look here. Doesn't have a lot of data. Let's see if there's another place to look at it. GMX. Let's try and Coinbase. No, that's GMT. Yeah, GMX is another one that I'm kind of looking at. So that's another one of those. What else? I think is there anything else we want to talk about? I mean, you want to talk about no justice in the world. You've got Kyle Davies and Suzu, who basically were a byproduct of the Luna liquidation, but caused a lot of liquidations because they were over leveraged. And they are now not cooperating with liquidators. And actually their whereabouts are unknown. Like, people don't actually know where they are at the moment. Even their lawyers, I think, said that they don't know where they are at the moment. Can you imagine that? They didn't even get a ZAC XBT thread. I mean, here's guys that destroyed billions and billions of dollars, don't even have a ZAC XBT thread. Not even a ZAC XBT thread.
Let's reach out to him.
I mean, come on, Zach. You got to at least do a ZAC XBT thread on where the money went and stuff like that. Not even a... Imagine being the biggest casualty in this whole market and not even getting a Zach XBT thread. Crazy. People are talking about render. Yes, I'm buying render. Definitely buying render. Definitely buying render. Definitely. Not buying sushi. Not buying sushi. I've got sushi. I'm not buying any more sushi. Who else? Where else? They went deep sea fishing. I see from Sheldon to Sheldon with love. The guy always comments every YouTube video. He always says that Sheldon Hughes. I think. What's his name? Is it Sheldon Hughes? That's his name. It's Sheldon Hughes. Sheldon from Ran to Sheldon with love. FTT. I'm also buying. Yes, I am buying FTT. But again, remember, you got to buckle down as if you're going to be here for months. And if you come out of it before the months, great. But you got to prepare yourself for months and months and months and months of this. And that means you got to deploy your capital really slowly. Yeah, that's what you got to do. That's what you have to do. All right, let's see. Is there anything else? Or can we just do some giveaways? Let's do some giveaways. All right. So first of all, for those of you who have not been paying attention in class, we are doing giveaways. If you want to join the giveaways, you go to the referral links. A lot of you are not paying attention where the referral links are. Here are the referral links. If you sign up to ByBit, up to $4,200 in deposit bonuses. This is, I must say, of all the exchanges, and a lot of them are our sponsors, I've been using ByBit the most. Love their interface. It's the fastest, nicest interface. In fact, what I'll do is I'll make a video tonight of all the best exchanges that I use, and I'll post it while I'm away. And then you guys can see all the exchanges that I use. How are we doing on the Sniper Trading Squad? Let's have a look. I think the Koreans were kicking our asses. Oh, we're 31. We're position 31. Hold on a second. We're moving up the rankings very well. Remember, this is a marathon. So you want to join, you join out. I don't know if you can join the squad anymore, but if you want to, just hit the squad there. We can win $1.8 million, and then we win another 20%. We give you 20%. That's $360,000. KuCoin, I'm going to give away KuCoin giveaways now. I'm going to give away 5 times $1,000. Plus, you get $500. What else am I going to give away? So Bitget. So this is it. The Bitget are the new up and coming. So I've been trading on their exchange. This is the exchange. The interface is amazing. Very, very simple exchange to use. Their sign-up bonus is best in the industry, up to $8,000. And we're going to 10x some portfolios starting next week when I get back. So we're going to give you guys time to sign up, and then we're going to start 10xing portfolios. Remember that they are available to US traders and no KYC for up to 20 Bitcoin. So 20 Bitcoin per day, no KYC, which is crazy. Got it? All right, and today I'm also going to give away a Solana phone. How's that? Let's give away a Solana phone. I'm going away, so we should do that. Okay, let's start off with KuCoin. I'm just going to refresh because I need to get a list of all of you degens. Let me just get a list of degens. Oh, come on, it's not loading. All right, here it is. Just loaded. Amazing. So I'm going to give away $5,000. Remember the rules here. You have to have you have to have money in your account. Doesn't matter how much money. First one is sh.com. You get $1,000 if you have money in your account. ro.com. You get $1,000 in your account. am.com. You get $1,000 in your account if you've got money in your account. If you don't have money in your account, we ain't playing this game. Then da.com. This guy, da.com, he does have money in his account because he's been trading. He wins another $1,000. So those are the KuCoin giveaways for today. And remember, that's that. Now, let's give away a Solana phone. Now, remember the rules for the Solana phone is you have to have money in your account. And we'll give you a Solana phone, and you only get the Solana phone if the Solana phone launches. If it doesn't launch, then I can't give you something that doesn't launch. I'm going to pick somebody here to make it fair. I'm going to pick somebody here. I'm making it number 276. He wins the Solana phone. Hold on. Let's quickly make that green. He wins the Solana phone. Okay, 276. Okay. Bang. Number 276. 276. He's got money in his account. $681. He wins the Solana phone. First guy to win the Solana phone. Whoa, baby. 2773051. If that's your user ID, you've won yourself a Solana phone. Lastly, And remember, next week I'm going to be 10xing Bitget portfolios. So make sure you got money in your Bitget accounts, because then we'll be playing that. So you're doing a video after the show.
Uploaded. You can see.
Oh, it's uploaded. Hold on a second. So dupes. Hold on.
You can tell me what you think it's about.
Hold on. Whoa.
And
This
we rebranded it.
this is big. This is big. Ooh, look at the channel. Carl, look at your channel, bro. The Crypto Shorts channel. 52 people are already waiting. It's about never lose again.
Yeah. Believe it or not, there is a way.
There's a way never to lose money again.
Never.
Don't play?
No. You're involved. Actually, you play a lot. You have to watch it to see.
Okay, we'll watch it. Okay, what time is that going live?
5:30. Our time, 30 minutes.
Okay, so it's live in 30 minutes. Okay, 100% live in 30 minutes. Alrighty, if you want a Solana phone, I'm going to be doing more when I get back next week on Tuesday. I'm not here from now until Tuesday. Don't phone me. Don't write to me. Don't tweet at me. I'm on vacation. I'll see you guys when I get back. I figured now was the best time to take a vacation because nothing's happening on the markets. So, love you guys madly. See you guys again on Tuesday. Until then, watch Kyle's stream and trade well, my friends. Have fun. On vacation, baby. My show's finished. I'm on vacation, baby.
For the first time ever. One.
First time ever.
There we go. Even December, you had your stuff with you.
I always